Joining us right now to talk about the addition that was made, the hire, and the decision behind it. It's always good to have him back on the show. We used to do a regular segment with him for years. It's a pleasure to have the president of basketball operations and general manager of the Suns, James Jones, on with us here on Burns Gambo. James, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me, man. It's a good day.
Good to have you back on the show, my friend. We missed you.
No, I miss you guys too, man. It's always good talking to you.
Yeah. I want to go back with Mike Budenholzer. I want to go back to 2018, the year you guys ended up hiring Igor Kokoshkov. You guys had met with Mike Budenholzer at that time, I think in an Atlanta hotel room. He ended up coaching Giannis in Milwaukee. But what do you remember about that year and those discussions with Budenholzer?
Just Mike's excitement about the opportunity to come back here to Phoenix. I mean, at the time it was a rebuild, and he was coming off of a great run in Atlanta where he had built a great team, and I just thought that at the time it just wasn't right for him, for us. We didn't end up connecting. He evidently wasn't the coach of this franchise, but then he moved forward and got some valuable experience in Milwaukee about how you make championship strides quickly. And so now I guess the third time's a charm, because we spoke to him last summer prior to the coaching hire last summer, and it just wasn't right. So Mike has been Mike. He's all about competing. He loves coaching. He loves being on the floor. And more importantly, he loves high expectations, and he's reached them.
James, I'm curious, what wasn't right about last year? You went through the process. You narrowed it down to, I think, 3 candidates. You ended up choosing Frank to be the head coach. What wasn't right about Mike last year that makes him right this year?
It's just time. Mike was coming off of a heck of a run in Milwaukee. Personally, professionally, he had given a lot, and things move fast in this business. So going from one team to another, he didn't have the proper time to decompress. And I think he talked about it today in his presser. Sometimes you just need to get your mind right, get healthy, and get into a right spot where you can give everything you need to the position. And he just wasn't in a position to do that last summer.
James Jones, our guest here on the Burns Gambo show. I ask you this question as an executive and as a former player as well. How important is the buy-in by the players to the coach? And what do you think about Budenholzer, Coach Budenholzer, qualifies him to get a better buy-in from this group than maybe what you had last year?
Well, it's different. Every coach is different. And I think it's universal in sport in general. It's not just your best players. It takes a team. And can you get the entire team to line up with your expectations of them and to mesh with your coaching style? And so it's critical. And I think what Bud has done is he's proven that, the teams that follow and buy into what he's about and how he wants to play, the players have success. It's all about making players feel like they're in the best position. A coach is putting them in the best position to be the best version of themselves as basketball players. And he's done that, and he's had great success doing it.
Is there an extra emphasis for that, though, on this team when it comes to the 3 players and the roster kind of being built with them at the core of this roster?
They're important. I'm not discounting their importance, but like all teams, you can't win with 3 players. And our guys will be the first to tell you, it takes a team, and they shoulder a huge load. But it's the rest of our team. Our guys 4 through 15, they're going to be the ones that move the needle for us, because, we know what Devin, Kevin, and Brad can do by themselves. What can we do collectively with them and the rest of their teammates? That's what we're searching for, that right balance.
I think I understand the reasons why you made a change at coach, but let me ask you your opinion. When did you realize that a coaching change was needed? Was it during the regular season? Was it during the playoffs? At what point did you realize, hey, we got to make a change?
That happened after the season. It's tough. You can't just, I can't pinpoint one particular instance. We had a lot of dialogue and conversations with everyone, because we all had a hand in it. And when we got down to it, we just thought that a coaching change was the best course of action, and it was the right time to do it. And more importantly, we needed to find someone who aligned with what the vision of how we think this team can continue to improve. And Bud was the candidate and the target for us, and we were lucky and fortunate that we were able to get him.
This didn't bother me at all, but a lot of people were asking this, so I will ask you. Why did it take so long after the season was over to make that decision? Were you guys trying to see if Mike would accept the job before you decided to move on from Frank?
No, I mean we were in earnest, just trying to focus on one thing at a time. Did we have what we believe was the right mix? Were we heading in the right direction? And were we on course to achieve our goal of winning a championship, competing for a championship? And after we discussed it, we thought about it, we looked at it, we gave ourselves some time to think about it, not get emotional, evaluate it objectively. We just figured that we needed to make a change.
James, as a former player, I know you like to see the former players, their opinion be valued. How much stock did you take into the opinions of Devin and Kevin and Bradley on the decision with Frank?
I use the word perspective, right? Like everyone has a perspective of from their viewpoint. What did we do well? What didn't we do well? What can we do better, and how we get there? And so we listen to those guys, and they listen to us, and it's a back and forth, it's a dialogue. But ultimately, you take it in totality. We all have to work together. We all have to own our piece of it. And so those guys definitely have some influence, but it's not just driven by those three guys. It's driven by, collectively what will help this entire team get behind the mission, the goal of winning a championship.
James Jones, our guest here on the Burns Gambo show. I think one of the words you would use during the press conference when it came to your team and offensively how they approach things is to be more efficient. And obviously there was a question to Coach Bud about shooting more threes, and is that going to be a real emphasis of you and of him in terms of how he coaches the roster that you guys create and maximizing that going forward, where maybe that wasn't as much of a focus before?
No, I think it's I know Bud for sure. He'll emphasize shooting threes, but that's always a hot issue for us. We want more threes. We're like every other team. We want more threes. But I think he said it best when he said it'll be something that we focus on, we do every day, and that will add to our game. We're not looking to take away what those guys do exceptionally well. And if that's ever the narrative, you won't have any success. So we'll make an emphasis to shoot more threes. We know we have to do that. How many, I don't know, but we'll get enough of them up to feel good about it.
Are you anticipating any sort of changes in the front office as part of the structure and how things are done based off of the end of the season? Or should we be anticipating some sort of a change in terms of how things are done?
Oh, always. That was always the plan. When Matt took over, he said we'll take some time to evaluate. And just like we improve our team on the court, we'll improve our team off the court, in the front office, the back office, and every facet of the organization we'll look to improve. So I suspect we'll add and we'll continue to build.
James, I want to see if I could put this to bed because there's so much speculation on, Kevin and Bradley and Devin. Do you see any scenario this offseason in which any of your big three would be moved in a trade?
No, I mean that's great for TV. I mean those guys aren't going anywhere. Those guys are a part of the solution. They're a part of the answer. And we acquired Kevin and Brad to play with Devin for a reason, because we felt, knowing who they are, Olympic athletes, team guys, that if we put those three competitive guys together with a great team to support a great coach, that we'd be able to compete for championships. And that's still the goal. That's still the plan. And I still believe we'll do it.
Me and you had a lot of talks in the past, and I love the way your roster construction was built. In the past, you used to tell me, like, hey, you know what, we may not be better than a lot of teams, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, but we're going to be better 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You were very big on the depth on a roster and building that. This roster construction, I think most people agree, you need better depth, but you have limited resources. How do you get better depth on this roster with the limited resources you have?
I mean, we get NBA players and we give them confidence, and we have them play up, and above what they believe or what people expect. But, there are multiple ways to build a team. We were extremely deep and we weren't good enough, and we were top heavy this year and we weren't good enough. So we'll have to strike a balance. But I'm open to adapting. We have to be, because the NBA is ever changing. But I do know having, Devin, Kevin, and Brad gives us and affords us a lot of flexibility to be patient with the guys at the back end of the roster, the middle of the roster, and allow them the appropriate time to grow, build confidence, and prove to them to themselves and everyone else that they're more than capable of carrying their load and helping us compete for a championship.
James, we appreciate the time as always. Good to hear your voice.
Good to
Good to
talk
have
to
you
you.
back on the show. All right, we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks, guys. Talk soon.
Thanks, James.
James Jones joining us from the Phoenix Suns.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.